Hello and welcome to this episode of the GrowVC Everyone Funding Startups podcast. I'm your host Marcus, and today we're speaking with Tony Dhillon, our head of European operations at GrowVC. And Tony's been leveraging the European environment for startups and developing this field with a European context in mind. So Tony, why don't you introduce yourself, give a little background to who you are and where you've come from to our listeners.
Thanks for that, Marcus. Well, my background is very much finance orientated, whereas in the later years I've gone more into the digital media and technology side. I started off doing economics at London University, after which I travelled actually around South America and Australia. And when I came back, I came into the financial arena in terms of raising investments for high-risk companies. And I raised substantial funds for some British films, which were quite high risk. Now, after that, I completed financial qualifications to comply with the FSA regulations, and then I decided to pursue more financial investments in the UK, which utilised specific tax breaks to get high-risk investments like wind farms and more kind of European and international films financing. After that closed, I actually joined the head of UK and the Middle East for Variety, which was an online entertainment publication. We launched a number of digital initiatives there, and with the upcoming new technologies in terms of Facebook and Twitter and engaging with the audience, it was a huge transition from basically being a print magazine to being a whole kind of online entertainment engagement platform. After which I actually joined Barclays in the technology team in the media, technology and telecom side, and we analysed a lot of upcoming companies who've been going for 3 years, and also established technology companies and helping them with their financial needs really. But obviously with the downturn, it proved a more challenging aspect, and I felt that companies who were established would obviously find it easier to find credit, but I felt that there was a real great need to get companies, specifically startups, initial financing to get off the ground, and that's when I came across GrowVC really.
And I guess that was late summer or early fall last year. But what was it initially that sparked your interest in GrowVC? What was kind of when you approached GrowVC and thinking about the concept, what did you see that actually kind of got you really interested?
Well, since 2008, I've been very much involved in the technology and media sector. So I had my eyes on all the kind of big things coming out of America in terms of initiatives. And as you can imagine, being on the scene in the London European tech community, I actually came across a number of individuals who worked at platforms such as Indiegogo. And I thought they were very, very interesting concepts to help people who had a lot of trouble getting interesting projects off the ground, which wouldn't require that much investment. Around the time, I think it was February or February 2010, March 2010, I came across GrowVC, which was mentioned and talked about in the same arena. And that's when I thought that this was an interesting concept, but the fact that it wasn't just US based, it was a global, provided a very kind of interesting aspect to something we could do on a global scale.
All right, let's look at a good case example right now. So take a couple of steps back from GrowVC, and that is the UK economy. That's been quite a topical discussion point lately with Startup Britain and some regulatory changes as well. What do you think about the landscape? What do you think of its development, some implications, and what do you think of the overall reception and feedback that these initiatives have got?
I mean, certainly in the last, the last UK budget, it's been an improvement on what has existed before. But what I'll actually say as a main point in terms of investment in the UK for specific, be it projects or high risk companies, it was always promoted, since 1997. It was always promoted as a tax break rather than obviously an equity stake, which it was. So a lot of the investments were mainly around capital gains deferrals or income tax rebates. And as a result, your investment wasn't as at risk as it would be if you had a 100% equity stake. As a result, through various kind of wealth managers and banks, the investments for these companies were sold as actually tax deferral schemes rather than investments. And I believe the quality suffered. And over the last kind of 10 years, you've seen that a lot of companies didn't do as well. So right now, especially over the last couple of years, with a lot of these tax schemes closing and a lot of promotion of general 100% investment into small to medium enterprises and even startups, and also the generalization of getting possibly some debt involved when these companies get off the ground. The ethos is changing in terms of, yes, there should be tax incentives, but that's not the primary goal.
And there's a lot going on in terms of startups on a global level, not just in the UK, but a lot wider. I mean, there was Startup America, and there are probably similar initiatives in most of the countries and governments trying to provide the right environment to foster this innovation that's going to create tomorrow's jobs. So there's been definitely a lot of interest in this field. What do you see as the implications for example, GrowVC and these different models that could actually make this more efficient?
Certainly over the last 3 or 4 months, the initiatives that different governments have set up does look like it's falling in line with the plans that we have. Although GrowVC is a global venture community, it essentially starts on the local level where, for example, like Startup Britain or Startup America, and then the companies have an ability to cross different geopolitical boundaries in terms of their businesses. So certainly we at the kind of at the starting point of offering a platform that falls in lines with their goals. Specifically, a lot of the countries are making specific regulation changes to make these to make companies grow faster, which is a good sign.
So I already mentioned in the beginning that you're the head of the European operations for GrowVC. So tell us a little bit about that, a little bit about the European operations, and just basically what you've been working on recently and what's been cooking there.
Absolutely. I think obviously when we started, it was a case of generally getting some knowledge, some feedback of where we are in Europe, what's the kind of startup scene like, not just in the UK, but in different countries like Spain, France, Italy, Portugal, to Greece. And what we're seeing is that over the last year and so, some really interesting startups have come out of specific countries, and the cultural there's been a great cultural shift towards individuals getting their own initiatives and going, listen, I have this great idea. The lack of funding at this point won't get me down. I will find a great team, and hopefully we can build this together. But right now, we need to do this. So it's very much in the American sense of get things done, go do things, rather than waiting for other individuals to come up with great ideas. So it has kind of liberalized the kind of startup community, which is a great thing, and individuals feel like they're able to the opportunity is there to really make something happen. So it's been great to kind of meet more individuals, entrepreneurs, and getting their feedback and letting them know that GrowVC, we're in operation and that we're a global platform. but also speaking